Would have been utilizing that clothesline outside if it was sunny and not as damp as it was. This is the Church of the Mountain Hiker Hostel. There's a picnic table outside too, which is nice, but it was so damp and rainy yesterday that they did not come into use yesterday, but they would have if it had been a nice day. But I wouldn't have been here if it was a nice day. We're leaving the Church of the Mountain Hiker Hostel. Stayed an extra hour or so because the clothes that I had hung up outside in the lobby area where the coat racks were still soaking wet, but the clothes that I had hung up in the drying rack where there was space were dry. So my hiking clothes I'm wearing now are still soaking wet, so I hung them on the drying rack with a fan to dry them out, and it worked in the hour additional that I stayed there. So thankful for that. I wanted to wear dry clothes, especially since it's still like 40 something degrees out. Still some clouds over the mountains there. But this is Delaware Water Gap, and here's where we left off yesterday. The blaze. We came down from up there and turned down up there to follow or find the Church of the Mountain Hiker Hostel. So now we follow the blazes on the telephone poles. Yesterday was the rainiest day I've dealt with so far. So I wanted to dry out the gear at the Church of the Mountain Hiker Hostel and then ended up staying the night because it was taking a while to dry out. The good things are my tent's finally dry. I hung that up overnight. I dried my pad out. And everything's mostly dry. My rain gear is still a little bit damp. It didn't dry fully in the hour that I let it dry for, but it was worth the time spent yesterday afternoon and evening. Also, since Bugs and Bushman had the same idea that I did. So I got to enjoy some time there. Also with Special K, going out to that restaurant. We ate a little bit of food, but we had a lot of talk. Spent like 2.5 hours at that restaurant, just talking trail stories and things like that. So that was cool. That was fun. And then I got to play a game of chess with Bushman. I did beat him, but he played a good game. I'd like to play him again sometime. Look at those snow plows. Delaware River Bridge Commission. We're still following the blazes. I think we're going to this side of the sidewalk. Between these big construction trucks. Yeah, another blaze. Well, y'all, this is Interstate 80. Walking along a nice sidewalk on Interstate 80, Delaware River. Can't even see the tops of the mountains. And they're not even that high. They're just lost in the clouds in Delaware River. Look at that. Mile zero! Mile zero! There's the sign! There's the sign! New Jersey! Entering New Jersey! New Jersey time! Leaving Pennsylvania, entering the Garden State! Good morning! We're in New Jersey now. We just crossed the Delaware Water Bridge, and we have entered the wonderful Garden State of New Jersey. I'm excited to be done with Pennsylvania, and you all know it is Dick the Eagle here, and we are hiking northbound from Springer Mountain, Georgia to Mount Katahdin, Maine. And today is day 79, and I am thrilled that you are with us for today's journey. I hope you've been with us for a while, but if you have not, welcome to today. I hope you enjoy following along and hiking with us today. We are hiking northbound, and we're continue walking, so let's go on a hike. I crossed that bridge so many times by car, but that was my first time on foot. Thankfully, my shoes and socks dried out overnight. I had them inside. The thing that has not dried out is my gloves, which it's a little cold right now. It's 44 degrees, and I wish I had dry gloves. If I had stayed there a little bit longer, I would have, or had my gloves inside overnight, they would have dried, but I wasn't thinking about that. Oh well, we should be okay. They're hanging from the outside of my pack, so we'll see if they may be dry. I'm so glad though I didn't try to continue hiking in wet gear though. Yesterday, I had to dry everything out because it was wet, and I could, even in 40-degree temperatures, if I can't get dry and don't have anything dry, it's still risking hypothermia. So I did the safe call staying in the hostel last night. We're still walking along this road, following the blazes. Nice little picnic area here, the Delaware Water Gap area. This is Kidney Point. So this is the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area. The yellow is the Appalachian Trail. We were on Mount Minzy yesterday where we couldn't see anything, and then the Appalachian Trail follows kind of the Delaware River for a little bit. The park's on both sides. And the National Scenic Trail goes by a few lakes and parallels for a bit until it goes off somewhere else. AT North, underneath the interstate. This might be the only part of the AT where you are walking up like an on-ramp to a highway, to the other side of the highway. Until we turn here. Delaware, or whatever that says. What color did this kickback blaze on this post here? That's a kickback blaze. And then the Dunfield Creek. I've been here before. I parked here when I went on another hike. Remember this area. Appalachian Trail. I was here on a nice warm December day. It was like 60 degrees or something in December. Well, today it's May and it's 45. This is New Jersey. You can only camp at designated sites. There's always a climate of town, and I knew this was coming because I've hiked this before. As recently as 5 months ago, less than that. I hiked this section on a day hike when I was coming back from Ohio from picking up my green pack that I later traded out for this pack because it was 4 pounds lighter. But at that time, I was getting my old pack from my storage. You know what? I wasn't even looking for this. But there it is. I just noticed it on the ground. 1,300. I forgot I was crossing 1,300 today. 1,300 miles on the Appalachian Trail. Wow. Just crossing New Jersey and then 1,300. 2 big things in just like a half hour. Look how beautiful this place is, how green it is. I love how the last few days there's been so many ferns. And the birds. Listen to the birds. This is why I love it out here. I see 2 thru-hikers. They have the yellow hang tags. Walking on bedrock like this is so much better than pointy rocks in Pennsylvania. Nice and flat. Well, a little bit of uphill, but not too bad. When I did this hike last year, I learned that I could take the tips off of these poles. Now I've got no tips left, but I met Dave, who was like, why are you hiking with rubber things on? Use the graphite for better traction. Like I said, now there's no tips left. The PA Rocks did those tips in. But these very same poles, this was their maiden voyage trip last December. Actually, I think it was their second trip, because the Chimney Rocks trip was their first one. New Jersey, Pennsylvania called. They want their rocks back. I had to borrow that one from Bad Bat's first day in New Jersey because I laughed out loud when she said that when I was watching her last year. Pennsylvania wants their rocks back. All their pointy ones. Yeah, you can keep the nice flat ones, the bedrock. Look at this. AT and Route 80. I've filmed that sign before when I did that video last December. This is the backpacker campsite. I've been here before. I took my old backpack out here for the first time in a while. Welcome to the backpacker campsite. So this is a campsite, official designated campsite that you can stay at, and there's lots of space all down there. There's no view today, but there's plenty of tenting space. All right, you guys, look at this. 12/29/23. Here we go. And there's today, PBJ and Bushman. Doesn't look like Nichols signed. The Sunfish Pond Natural Area. This is kind of nice, Sunfish Pond. I like this spot. It's so peaceful. You know, I could keep walking, or I could cook a little lunch, early lunch, about 10 o'clock in this nice bench here. I think I might enjoy this piece of this space for a little bit. I got this in the box and I wanted to eat this first. It's a lunch because it's not as many calories, 550. So usually I go for the peak refills, which have more calories, but this will make a good early lunch today. So serene and calm. No swimming though. I like how this is best by January 2053. Also made the G mix that I got in that package, and I might try this dark chocolate cheesecake mix as well. The people at the hostel said it was good. Nothing like a nice chicken noodle casserole with a view of a lake and the peace of the backcountry of the Appalachian Trail. It tastes just like chicken noodle soup, a meal which I love, and I've never had it on Shaw before. So I'm looking out at this view and cherishing this moment. I was just finishing my chicken noodle casserole that I got in my box yesterday, and guess who I ran into?
Uh-oh, slow and steady.
Slow and steady, and just Bob.
Just Bob. We've been trying to call him Eagle Eyes or Hawkeye or something, because he sees every single thing on the trail. Every rock, lizard, and plant. Good to see you.
That's cool. Yeah, it's good to see you too. I'm glad you caught up to me. It's always nice to see familiar faces.
And hi to the people that said you saw me on Stick's channel, and now hopefully you'll see him on my channel. But mine are a little more delayed than his, so wait for it.
A couple days. Anyway, embrace this journey. Beautiful day out here. Enjoy this pond. I think we get to walk around it for a little while. Let me tell you what I just told a suction hiker who asked me, where are you heading tonight? And I just say, somewhere north of here, because I don't want to pick a destination and then think about the destination the whole day. I will just walk north and then pick a destination at 5 or 6 at night after I see where I'm at. And I thoroughly enjoy that because it allows me to enjoy moments like the moment I just had on that bench, staring out at this pretty Sunfish Pond. That could be one of your lessons if you're looking for tips for through hiking. I mean, this is my walk right now. This is beautiful. It's a little rocky, but gorgeous. More rocks to slow my progress so that I enjoy this view for longer. So pristine. I can see why people would enjoy swimming in it and want to disobey the sign, but not quite warm enough today. But it's a beautiful sunny day. New Jersey, that's a lot of rocks. That's the trail that continues to go around the whole lake. The AT leaves the Sunfish Pond. A little bit of a view of Jersey through the trees. Nice green corridor and nice pointy rocks from Jersey. I knew the rocks wouldn't end in Pennsylvania, but I'm told they are better. So hopefully these stretches are few and far between in Jersey. Anyway, we have a little bit of a bottleneck of through hikers right now, which is distinct in terms of being ahead of the bubble. But there were a number of us who came in midday to the Church of the Mountain Hiker hostel, and there were a number of people who came in the day before and then decided to zero there because of the rain. So we had a full place last night, probably about 10 to 12 people. And because the first shelter is 12 miles or 25 miles out, basically everyone's planning on going to that shelter. Clearing here, not much of a view. So I want to shelter tonight because it's supposed to rain again tonight. Even though it's a beautiful day right now, it doesn't look it. It's supposed to rain starting about 3 in the morning into the morning. So I'm not going to test that tent a third time in the rain and keep on doing the same thing. So I'd really like to make it to a shelter 25 miles out from Delaware Water Gap, but I'm behind where everybody else is because everyone else got up at like 5:30 and was out by like 6. Like, wow, they're early birds. And the one after that is just 6 miles beyond, but it'd make for a 31-mile day. So I don't know, right now I'm just walking and enjoying the day, and I'll kind of see what happens. But if I have to night hike further into a shelter tonight, I think I will, so that I don't get soaked again. I'm in this beautiful clearing right now, and I'd like to give you the 12 o'clock tip today. So when you're charging electronics, do not plug your phone in overnight to your power bank and leave it. It will charge to 100% and then it will keep on draining that power bank. You want to unplug it before you go to sleep because that's the best way to conserve. I know from personal experience, I've left my phone plugged in and it's used like 15% of my power bank. But if I just charge it to like 80, 90% and then unplug it, it only uses about 4% of my power bank. That is a huge difference. So no need to charge your phone all the way to 100% and leave it plugged in. Just charge it enough and then unplug it so that your power bank still saves all that power. Currently we're on Raccoon Ridge. You can't really see much of the trees, but I think there's a view later on.
It was the 900, the only 900 I've seen. I can honestly say I think that was the most difficult challenge for me since I started the trail.
A little bit of a view here. Gorgeous. More view of New Jersey. We've got a pile of stones here on Raccoon Mountain. And slow and steady to top it all off.
Raccoons everywhere. I'm hungry. The top of Raccoon Mountain rivers everywhere. Girls and let them catch up. Just kidding. Just kidding. Filming a filmer and filming a film.
We have Homegrown and Cooper, Slow and Steady, and Just Bob.
Yeah, we saw you at half.
Look at those rolling hills. That's pretty. Between 50 and 100 feet, half mile from the road. So, can camp along the side of the trail within that range.
Look at this furry little kitten we found on the trail. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. There's another one for you.
Look at these. Amazing. Appreciate these views. I've been sitting here on this rock just enjoying nature for a little bit. For a while I was hiking with 4 others, well, probably just like a half hour or so. But I have trouble keeping pace with some of them for a while. I just hike slower, but I generally hike longer. But I think I do that by taking breaks, so I can end up going farther in the day, even though I can't keep up with them during the day. So leads to a lot of alone hiking, but you know what? If it means I can take breaks like this in the woods, I'm good with that. I enjoy the brief moments where I can talk with others, but you know what? This is how it's meant to be, right? Yeah. Trembling update. PBJ and Nichols are like a day ahead because they pushed through the rain yesterday. I didn't think that'd be smart for me because of how wet I was and how cold it was. But Bushman and Bugs are not too far ahead of me. They're going to the shelter that hopefully I'll make it to, if not go one beyond. I have to determine that based on how the rest of the day goes. There's some more people have passed me. I was taking that break, talking about how they need to get to that shelter that's about 14 miles out from here now. Be perfect timing for me, but there's a number of people who are thinking about the rain, and they're all pushing past me, wanting to sleep in the shelter. So there's not going to be room in there. It's an 8-person shelter, and there's like 15 people who are going to be there. So some of them are going to have to tent anyway. So I don't think I'm even going to stop at that shelter. I think I'm just going to resign myself to tenting again in the rain and getting wet. We're going downhill. I have been finding that there really hasn't been a lot of shelter space recently because there's been a lot of Harper's Ferry northbound flip-floppers who are taking up the shelters, especially in the nights that I want them, like on bad weather nights. Typically now, if I choose on a good weather day, I'm not going to deal with the hassle of trying to get a spot in a shelter, and I'm just going to tent because I enjoy tenting at this point. Plus, the flip-floppers are often stopping at like 4 or 5 o'clock to end their day, and I never stop at that point. So by the time I'm ready to stop at a shelter, it'll be full because people have already claimed their spots. It's funny, I wasn't thinking about claiming spots in shelters since like Georgia when it was busy, and now I've come across an entirely new bubble of Harper's Ferry northbound flip-floppers. AMC Mohegan Outdoor Center is a 0.3 mile road walk up the hill. It's barely 2 o'clock. I don't think I'm going up there. They do try to entice you with all this menu though. You know what, I'm not in a rush. I don't need the food, but I don't like digging cat holes, so there's probably restrooms down here. They had portable water and porta potties, which is good enough for me. They also had plenty of food and resupply, but I didn't need that. I've had plenty of food, and I do have plenty of food. But it was worth the stop. I'm listening now to the rest of my audiobook because I was feeling a bit down. And the first sentence that I heard is, how can you be in God's creation and not be in a constant state of prayer. That is so good, so good. We're climbing a little bit of a rocky climb. Some more of New Jersey. Clouds are getting darker. Rain expected tonight. Wow, I love how the trail has so many views like this right now. Look at those houses down there. Oh, it'd be nice to own one of those. Near the AT and also a roof. New Jersey's kind of like Pennsylvania. Once you get up to the top of the ridge, you're just walking on the ridge. And also, there's enough rocks to go around for everybody. But not as bad as PA. I think I'm finally reaching the fire tower that I had talked about being a good lunch spot. Well, it's 3:30, so I'm a little behind where I thought I would be. But it's okay. I'm just enjoying the journey. Nice. This is beautiful. Climbing on. New Jersey's beautiful too. That was a great experience. Climbing to the top of the tower. Like most other fire towers, the actual room part or cabin part of the tower was locked, but you could go to the top of the staircase and take in basically the same view, which I showed you. That's the most beautiful view I've ever had of New Jersey. Temperature check is right at 50 right now. So I'm hoping maybe not everyone will reach the shelter. And maybe there'll be space when I get in there, but it's still almost 12 miles away and it's almost 4 o'clock. So it's a hike. I'm not getting there till 9 or 9:30. We have rocks. New Jersey, why are you still so rocky and challenging? And why do you only have the first shelter in your state 25 miles in? And then all the other shelters are like between 6 and 8 miles for the rest of the state. I could do another 6 miles, but 11 miles is a stretch for the rest of the day. And I really just want a shelter for the rain tonight because I don't want to trust my tent again. But I might be forced to if I can't get to the shelter and these rocks are slow moving because they're hurting my feet again. These rocks are better. They're much smaller. Let's keep the trail like this for a while, shall we? You know, I think I'm going to that shelter either way. Even if I get in at 10 o'clock, I'm going to that shelter because I want to be in the shelter, not in my tent, when it's supposed to have as much rain tonight as we're supposed to have. Because I know that if I try that for a 4th time, I've tried my tent in the rain 3 times and I've gotten wet every time. So I'm not trying it a 4th time. I see a blaze in that tree. We get to continue the road. I'm happy with this after those rocks. I did just pass one other fellow who flew by me earlier, and he was planning on going to the shelter too. So he's running late too. I'm thinking a number of us are struggling to get to that shelter on time tonight. Ordinarily, I would not worry about getting to the shelter, but it's just because of the rain. I don't want all my stuff to get soaked after I just dried it out last night. So, trying to keep the stuff dry. Also, New Jersey has a rule about camping at designated sites, pretty much. So, there are some campfire rings around that you can camp at if they're appropriately spaced. They're supposed to be 50 to 100 feet off the trail. So they do have those around in certain places. And some of them are marked and far out. But yeah, that's what I'm pushing today. I think our lovely road walk is coming to an end. Or not, there's just a blaze on that telephone pole. So I guess I'm walking up this road. There's that sign again. Through hikers only may camp on the trail. Interesting little swamp here. We continue probably to summit that little hill in front of us, which isn't that tall. Well, the trail literally brought us right next to it and almost through it. So you got a better view. Hello, all you friendly whatever you are. What are they called? I don't know, but I've been seeing them everywhere. Everywhere. Some places more than others. Look at this. This looks like a beaver doing to me. Beaver caused this tree to fall over the trail. More beaver chewing, causing tree to fall. So interesting. Actually, like kinda current beaver activity. This must be a beaver dam. Well, suddenly we go up, up, up. It's not that long, but it's steep. Power lines, and yet another amazing view. I'm hoping that the trail continues nice like this for a while, because I can make much better time when the trail is like this. And there's plenty of decently good campsites up here, but again, I don't want to tent. It's only 5:30, so I wouldn't stop at one of these anyway, because there's still plenty of daylight. But I don't want to tent when I'm not able to trust my tent in the rain anymore, as has been proven by 2 times in the last 5 days and getting all my gear wet. So I'm trying to push the shelter. There's a little less than 8 miles remaining, and it's 5:30. So I'm hoping I'm making there by 8:30. If I do like a little over 2.5 miles per hour, but I need good trail for that. So we'll see if it stays like this. I want to show good shelter etiquette, which is not getting into a shelter after dark. You want to be settled and have all your stuff together by dark, because that is hiker midnight. So coming into a shelter after dark is not good etiquette. I think I have reason to push because I don't want to get everything wet again. But ordinarily, if I was going to be coming into a shelter after dark, I'd just find somewhere to tent. And that's what I've done a few nights when I've been hiking past dark. I've just found a nice spot to tent and set it up and went to sleep. The rocks came back, but we're just moving as we can move. We have a little over 6 miles to go, and it's just past 6. So we have gained some time with that flat walk, and we'll just keep moving forward. My feet hurt. I've just been trying to eat these rocks and just step on them and be okay. but also trying to avoid them as best I can. Looks like a gravel road up here. But I'd like to get to the shelter as early as possible. The goal is before dark, so that I don't interrupt anybody, or as few people as possible. I'll probably want to eat something when I get there too, but goal right now is get there. Well, that was a interesting technical little climb up. The trail's down there, and I just came up this whole face here. So that was a little bit steep. And we got a little bit more, but probably not too much. White has intersected the orange trail. Orange trail looks nice and flat, but it looks like they are gifting us a view over here. Kind of. Look at those rain clouds. You can tell it's gonna rain tonight. All in New Jersey looks the same, right? But this is my first day in Jersey, so I have to enjoy it. Honestly, it's starting to look a little more like the mountains in Connecticut that I trained on with this flat bedrock. Well, no, that's a nice view. Is that raining over there, or is it just sunlight streaming through the clouds? I'm not sure. Yes, I like this AT. Keep this coming. I've been walking non-stop since the fire tower, and that was about 6 miles ago. Usually I try to do 4 miles and then break, but right now I'm trying to push to a shelter, but I don't want to push too much because my body used to taking a break after this long. So I don't know. If I really feel like I need to, I'll try to limit 1 to 5 minutes, but I'm trying to push so I get there before dusk. Like I said earlier, I have a little less than 5 miles to go, and it's about 6:45. Hemlock Pond Trail, and the Crater Lake Trail is on the other side. I remember a common graffiti back down south was these nights get so long. Like at Blue Mountain Shelter in Georgia and North Carolina. And they did get long because it was winter and the nights were like 13 hours. And who sleeps 13 hours? But the general rule of thumb is that you don't stir until first light, generally. I mean, some people get up earlier. Oh, more rocks, yay. But now the nights don't seem long anymore. The nights are short because we're so much closer to summer. Good evening, it is Stick the Eagle here. We are closing in on our last miles for the day. The total is somewhere around 25, and we have 2 miles left of the shelter. It is starting to get dark. We should be there in less than an hour, which should be just before 8:30. So, dusk. Sunset's about 8:05. So goal basically accomplished. I'd love to be getting to the shelter about now, because it's getting darker earlier because it's cloudy, because it's supposed to rain. But it is what it is. We had a good push today to get here to where we're at, to get to the shelter well before 9 p.m. and basically at hiker midnight, I guess. So not ideal, but it could have been worse. Now we will be sheltered from the rain tonight, as long as the shelter's not full, fingers crossed, and don't have to set up our tents. We had a very nice day, good mileage. Not that it really matters anymore, but it was good. Great views, especially from that fire tower. So glad I climbed the fire tower. If you have a chance to climb the fire tower, do it, even if it's blocked at the top. Always great views. And dried our stuff. So anyway, we are on an AT journey. This was the end of day 79, and we have more days to come. we're in New Jersey, and we're ending about mile 1322 tonight out of 2197.4. So if you'd like to follow along in the rest of this AT journey to see more on the way to Katahdin, please be sure you subscribe if you'd like to be. And if you'd like to follow along for some live updates, please be sure to check out my Instagram as well. Same handle as my YouTube at Stick the Eagle. For now, remember to always embrace the journey. It is not the destination. Focus on the experiences along the way, not just on getting there. And always remember, happy trails. Nothing like a late climb, right? Closer up. We're powering through this, but to give you an example. This is the top of Rattlesnake Mountain. A little bit of a view. At the top of another mountain, the last mountain before the Brink Shelter. And we are a half mile away. The Brink Shelter is just down the hill. Another view, much the same as before. It's 8:15. Now I go down the hill a half mile to the Brink Shelter. It's 0.2 off trail. We will be there around 8:35 with a little bit of light left in the sky. I think that's a win. Finally found the turnoff for the shelter. 0.2 miles down this gravel roadway. It's 8:42 p.m.